It's that time of the year. It is the end of 2017, and I wanted to make this video about the best and the worst cameras of the year. And going back through, I was rather disappointed on the amount of cameras and what there was and what there wasn't and what was expected and what we weren't giving. Why is this so confusing? I don't know. So I kind of want to start with just the runners up of everything and just a brief explanation of this. And throughout this whole thing, either disagree, agree with me. They're not really in a specific order per se, but obviously, this is just the way I feel. And let me know your thoughts on everything down in the comments below. Definitely what were your biggest pickups of the year, the best cameras, the worst cameras. Let me know down below. But I just want to mention some runner-ups, something that weren't completely amazing, but that came out this year that maybe you forgot about, maybe that you should pay some attention to. Fuji X-T20. It introduced a newer 24 megapixel sensor, have 4K video for the size of it, which is rather small for what it is. And it had a tilt touchscreen, and it's pretty good for what the Fuji line has. Just a cool camera, and it's not that, expensive. The Canon 77D was released earlier this year, and to me, it was kind of a why? Why would you even release this? It omitted a couple things, especially video-wise, and it was rivaling the 80D in a sense. The dual pixel and everything. It was kind of the same thing, but at that point, I say you just go with the 80D, but the 77D is worth mentioning because it has dual pixel autofocusing and it's under $1,000, so you can get a little bit more affordable, but I'd say go with the 80D. You're getting something a little better in my opinion. The Canon EOS M6, which didn't replace the M5, which had the horrible design screen of flipping down under the camera because it had the EVF up top, but the M6 basically is the option of the M5 without the electronic viewfinder, and the screen can flip up. But it's controversial because, yeah, it has a mic input, it has dual pixel autofocusing, but the screen can't be fully flush when even there's a tiny mic in there because the image is still upside down. So still a little bit of a mess, but the M6, for the size of it, once again, a little pricey for what it should be, has dual pixel autofocusing, and it's become a good vlog option for a lot of people, and that's why I recommend it. And I gotta read the name of this camera. Yeah, I know it's just too long. The Olympus OMD EM10 Mark III. Now, this was a big deal for a lot of Olympus users as well because there was 3-axis image stabilization in body, and with this one you're getting a 5-axis one, and once again, it's not expensive. It's under $1,000. It's very affordable, and I've seen a lot of other YouTubers like it as well, so that's definitely a good mention of the year. I know it might shock you because I own this camera and it's filming me right now, but I'm not going to put the Canon 60 Mark II as the best camera of the year because there were a lot of letdown features even for myself, be it the dual card slot not happening, no 4K video for a lot of people if they really cared about it. But it's still worth mentioning because it is the first tilt touchscreen that I can look at myself right here and focus in a Canon full-frame camera. That's what's really lacking on the 5D Mark IV from making it a phenomenal camera. The 5D Mark IV pretty much hits everything besides the 4K, but it doesn't have the tilt touchscreen, but they're obviously protecting their line because that's what Canon does. But the 60 Mark II is worth mentioning here. So I want to talk about the best cameras because this is pretty much when you want to watch here. The worst cameras might drop up at the end. I always mention these of the year because they're pretty much one of the most popular photography tools, and you kind of got to get over it because that's the way the industry is. And I will mention the iPhone 10, not X, and the Google Pixel 2 XL, and the 2 XL or the Note 8. There's cameras on them. They're very popular. I'm mentioning them, but I'll move on. Now, going up from that, you may see that I'm listing off a lot of Canon stuff here, but Canon really kind of came out with a lot of little boom booms here this year compared to the other brands. But I'm going to combine the Canon SL2 and the T7i because of their price point, what they offer with dual pixel for the entry-level market. I mean, once again, the Canon SL2, very, very palm-sized camera for what it is, has dual pixel autofocusing, is under $600, and you're getting that technology. That's why I'm putting it up there as a very, very popular camera of the year because of that as well. So I'm going to throw those two together, and I mean, yeah, check out my review on it down below. Any reviews of the cameras that I covered will be down in the description below. Now, even though I still think it's pretty expensive for what it is, but it is an amazing bridge camera, and I do recommend it for people who want an all-in-one type camera, and it is the Sony RX10 Mark IV. You're getting insane focal range and everything, and you're getting decently-ish fast lens for what it offers as well, and some decent speed. So if you're interested in a bridge camera, an all-in-one, something you can't take a lens off and change, check out the RX10 Mark IV. The Fuji X-E3 is the baby brother and kind of the smaller version of the Fuji X Pro 2, at least in my opinion it is, and it's selling very well. Now there's some ratings saying that it's not reliable, which doesn't make sense. I've got a lot of friends that use them that really like them. I've got a hands-on recently with one as well, and I actually think it's a phenomenal camera and stacks up very well to like an X-T2 or an X Pro 2, and the autofocusing is very fast. And I like the touchscreen, how while I like the dial to be for like ISO or something to be like manual, that it's on the outside like the X Pro 2, just a quick swipe of the screen on the back, you could change into it, easily change things, and you're good to go. But that's why I'm putting it as a very popular camera of 2017, and it's going to continue selling well, even though it's just very recent. Going up a little bit higher is the Panasonic GH5. Now this was heavily hyped, heavily wanted for this year, and besides the autofocusing issues and a couple of the other things that caused a lot of controversy with the camera, it is selling very well for what it is. Now with the recent rumors I made about like a GH5S type of thing, I don't know what's going to happen in the Panasonic market, but the GH5 is a decent follow-up to the GH4 that offered a little bit more, especially video-wise, but people that own it, that especially use manual and do actual video stuff, enjoy the GH5 a ton. And that's why it's a very big deal for 2017. Once again, coming back to Fuji, and the reason I bring it up even higher in the list because of the way it sells, is the Fuji X100f. I absolutely really enjoyed this camera. It's a $1,300, more compact size travel camera. A lot of street photographers use it, people that don't need interchangeable lenses. The X100f is a phenomenal camera for what it offers, and that's why it's sold so well, and it's continued selling well until they have the next version of the X100 line. And also, not saying this sold a ton, but for what this did for the medium format market, did do very well. But Fuji also released the GFX, their medium format, kind of their excuse for full frame in my opinion. Their medium format that they're still continuing to improve on the next 2 years. You're going to see insane resolution, in-body image stabilization in the future. But you have the GFX, and it had a really big pushback, especially on like Hasselblad, who's like, what do we do? Now these last 2 or 3 really are in no particular order. It just depends on what you prefer to shoot and how you like it. The Sony A9 is 100% worth mentioning. It's a great camera. Pretty much Sony's answer to try and stack up against the Nikon D5, the Canon 1DX Mark II, and to be like, hey, we're in the game too. We can have a fast camera, no blackout screen. You're seeing 100% what you're getting, and you're writing very, very fast files. But with the A9 also came the improved battery, which Sony needs 1,000,000%. It actually performs very well. But within that, you also have the Sony A7R Mark III, which pretty much is the camera of the year next to the other one I'm going to mention. And the Sony A7R Mark III uses that same battery, adopts a lot what's in the A9, has a good mixture of what was in the A7R II. I get a hands-on with that at Photo Plus. The camera is fast. It's amazing. The eye autofocusing, you could do whatever you want. You could go in, you could go out. I mean, the camera will follow you. It's very fast and reliable, and that's why it's one of the cameras of the year. But you know, the last camera that remains is obviously the Nikon D850. Pretty depressing year for Nikon's 100th year for the most part. I'll cover that in 1 second, but the D850 kind of saved them a little bit, $3,300. It wasn't an upgrade from the D810 really, and a D750. It was kind of its own thing. But the D850 really struck a lot of people, and that's why it sold like it did, and it's still, it's still selling out there as well, and people are still waiting to get their cameras, just like the Sony A7R Mark III. But the D850, A7R Mark III, definitely the 2 biggest standouts of 2017. Oh, sorry, I was about to take out some trash over here. But that being said, I wanted to start this off. They're not necessarily the worst cameras. They're just really some of the big letdowns of the year. And one of them being the Nikon D7500. Now, Nikon's 100th anniversary year was a very big letdown besides the D850, like I mentioned. And the D7500 had a lot of potential to be something that never came to be. And, no dual card slots, no battery grip or anything like that. You essentially just had a decently fast camera. It's very good, but I know a lot of people, it was way more of a letdown than it needed to be, and it kind of was. And unfortunately, I can't really give anything good to GoPro yet, but the GoPro Hero 6, a big letdown, $500 camera. That's really all I need to say. 4K, 60 frames a second. The Panasonic GH5, while I had it as a very good camera, one of the best of 2017, the focusing issues and the controversy around it was another reason just to add it to the list. But besides that, it's not a bad camera. The Canon 60 Mark II, you know why. And the last one I have to mention is the Sony RX10. To me, the score gets a 0. It's way overpriced. It's not compared to a GoPro, but it is kind of like a GoPro, but it's a better, just a no. So that wraps up 2017. I'm in my kitchen. I'm about to make some dinner, but I'll throw on that pasta action. But let me know your thoughts down below. What were your best and worst cameras or biggest letdowns of 2017? And let's just have a discussion in the comments below. But that's 2017 in a big old nutshell. 2018 looks very, very promising, especially with a lot of the stuff you're hearing from Nikon and Canon of mirrorless cameras, and what Fuji's probably going to do in regards to cameras with in-body image stabilization. Let's stay tuned. Let's find out. That's 2017 for you.